me. Better me. Better me. Better me. It's better me. Hopefully.
Hello, everybody. I've decided that we need to do an episode on, nutrition and meal prep. Because it's such a pain in the ass. How do people set up their whole bench with their little containers and, do all of their frickin' meal prep stuff? I just sat outside the supermarket and was like, okay, Sharyn, this is the week we're going to do it. Go get your little containers. Go buy all your chicken and your vegetables you're going to roast up. And then I got in there and I got a massive case of the Can't Be F's and looked at chicken breast and was like, oh, God, I can't be bothered cooking all of you to put into a little container that's then going to go in my fridge, and then people are going to open it and move it around, and then I'm going to probably food poison myself if I've left it there too long. And how am I supposed to do this with the kids talking to me the whole time? And the kitchen's small, and so the other negative someone else comes in the kitchen.
One eternity later.
I think a great episode for Better Me, hopefully, will be nutrition. How the F do we meal prep? And we just answer everybody's questions about nutrition. Why is it so hard? Sorry, this is a bit of a rage voice memo.
Better Me, hopefully, with Sharyn Casey.
I have got my phone for today's podcast guest, and it's not because I want to creepily record her. It's because when I put this on Instagram, if anyone had any questions for our guest nutritionist, there were so many questions that I've decided today I'm just going to ask your questions. So they're all coming off my phone and going directly to my amazing guest, the wonderful, the incredible, the intelligent, Joelle Legg. Woo! Oh,
nothing like a bit of self-applause.
Oh my God, exactly. That's what we're all about here on the podcast. Now, Joelle, I am so excited to have you here because I've known you for a very, very long time and just always have punished you about fitness and nutrition tips, and you've also got this whole blooming empire now with fitness and nutrition, I would say. Yeah. Come on. Well, would you call it an empire? I would. I think what you're doing is amazing.
Working on it, honestly. And I think the fun thing about it is it's everyday life. It's not we're not trying to scare people into doing things a certain way. We're trying to encourage people to live life to their fullest and amongst whatever happens, the flows and the ebbs and flows of what goes on in life. You can still eat well, you can still be active, you can still have all your treats.
Oh, which is exactly what I hoped you would say on this podcast episode. So if you don't follow Joelle, I'm going to put her details in the show notes. She is so inspiring and lovely, and you're one of the people on my Instagram feed that always make me smile because there's nothing beige active wear fakeness about you. It's all just about loving yourself and positive vibes, and you're like a sunshine on my Instagram feed, and that's why I really wanted to have you on the podcast. And the videos that you do with your husband Mike crack me up.
Oh my gosh.
So good. But if you want to follow on what Joelle and Mike are up to, and also you can sign up because you guys have got your own program that people can join.
Yeah, we do. We do. It is called MyJo, which is a combination of both of our names, but also our take on your owning your mojo and really living life to the fullest. So myjo.live is our business, and it's all about supporting people with their nutrition and fitness, but through a very healthy, sustainable way.
Okay, we're going to kick things off. I'm not going to lie, the first question is from me, but it did come through quite a lot from our podcast listeners. Why can I not stick to a meal plan? Because I tried a meal plan. I've tried every diet under the sun, as you probably know, but I just can't stick to a meal plan. It's they're so unsustainable and so much work to actually stick to. So why is it so hard?
There are many reasons. There is nothing wrong with you. It is completely normal not to be able to stick to a meal plan. One of the main reasons our meal plans can be so restrictive. They're cutting out entire food groups. They're not taking into account that life changes. Shit happens. Your kids get sick. You don't have energy to prepare food. And also there's a lack of including your favourite foods into it. You might have been someone that enjoyed a cheeseburger, as I know.
That's me. That's me. I love a cheeseburger.
And then that's suddenly cut completely from your meal plan. It has to be individual. So we need to still be able to factor in that you're going to be able to have a cheeseburger once a week, hopefully.
Okay, yes, McDonald's Friday, let's go.
To make it work for you. So meal plans can be adhered to, but they need to be really, really flexible. So if you're purchasing a meal plan that is off the shelf, you're less likely to stick to it because it is tailored to being super restrictive, generally really, really low calorie, and something that isn't going to sustain you for a very long time and teaching you the habits to then, once your meal plan finishes, to continue with life. I think the biggest thing we need to think about when it comes to nutrition is it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. What you need to sustain you is going to be different to me. Whilst, yes, there is like the ground rules around focusing on having enough protein, having enough whole foods, getting enough water, and then I take a very holistic approach in ensuring that we also get enough sleep, that there's movement included, and mindfulness, that all factors in. So if you are looking to change the way you eat and you have no idea where to start, rather than Googling everything and then finding the latest thing on social media.
Yeah, which is very hard when you're a woman on social media when every second thing is an ad of you to get some form of meal plan or something.
Yeah, and it becomes extremely overwhelming. And then you begin to feel like you might start something and then you go on that vicious cycle of berating yourself because you haven't stuck to it yet again. But it wasn't right for you in that time of your life or whatever.
Yeah, you're so right. Okay, our next question is, what are the simple things that we need on a daily basis?
Okay.
Because there's only so much chicken breast and spinach and broccoli I can eat. I can't eat that 3 times a day, Jojo.
No. Okay. Well, we'll start with water.
Okay. Or I better have some now that we're talking about
have a sip.
it.
Good girl. And hey, look, it's good to see that you've got your water. Hydration is key. So if we are aiming to, for some people, they don't even drink water. If you are looking to start increasing your intake of water each day, I would suggest having a glass when you first wake up, and then every time you go to eat, have another glass then. Often we can mistake hunger for dehydration.
Wow.
So one of the simplest things we need to make sure we're getting is enough water.
Producer has got one of these big dog TikTok drink bottles that I feel like I get a back problem carrying this around. What is your vibe on these?
What works for Caleb is wonderful.
Good job, Caleb.
But it may not work for you. So again, like
how do you carry this around? It's so heavy.
The other issue with those, though, is in your car, in your cup holder, then you need an accessory to fit them in the cup holder. But even then, those accessories, because I have been there and tried it, they don't hold the bottle in. If you're an erratic driver, like some of us,
yes,
they just flip straight out, and then it's actually more of a hazard when driving. So honestly, whatever is going to work for you. For me, I carry a litre drink bottle, which is a little narrower than that.
Yeah, this is the girthiest drink bottle I've ever seen in my life. Like, I feel like this is bigger than my child when he was born.
Probably heavier than your child when
he probably was, yeah.
So hydration was one of our simple things we need to do. Fresh whole foods. So it's not just your chicken and your broccoli, whilst they are wonderful foods.
Yes.
It's whole grains, lean protein, veggies, fruits, good fats. And examples of those are like fish, chicken, oats, rice, beans, lentils.
When you say whole grain, does that mean like Molenberg or Vogels?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Whole grain bread.
I feel so guilty because I have like eggs on toast in the morning and I always feel like I shouldn't be having the bread because I feel like we're in this like weird world where people are like, no carbs, babes, bread's bad.
Or like superseded sourdough.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful, but let's be really realistic here. Like, bread is not bad.
Okay.
You don't have to cut your bread.
Praise the bread gods. That is great news.
I mean, don't eat a loaf of bread a day.
Okay.
That's probably going to make you feel quite bloated.
All right, I will take that.
But if you are eating bread, I would suggest to focus on like a whole grain or a rye bread. And it can be what you get at the supermarket because we've got to be realistic. You're not going to pay $10 for a loaf of,
God.
bread from the bakery, which whilst it does taste yummy and wonderful, you're not going to be able to do that all the time.
Yeah.
It's really expensive. And you're not going to, a lot of people don't have the time to make their own loaves of bread at home. So stick with your Vogels and your poached eggs and your avocado. Like, that's what a very well-balanced meal and a great way to start the day.
Oh my God, that was the best. I feel like I should wrap the podcast up now. I feel like we kind of dabbled with like whether or not meal delivery services are bad. Like, obviously they're not bad because it's helping people eat healthily.
There's pros and cons. Like, there's the convenience of them. There's the portion sizes are calculated for you. It is very balanced in the fact that it will have a protein source, a carbohydrate source, and a fat source. And those three things are our macronutrients, which is something we want to consider. That is what our meals should be based on. Then the negative side of it is, I guess, that you're not learning to prepare meals for yourself. And then also for some, like some of those, the meals that are prepared, if you actually look on the back of them, like it's like 900 calories in one meal. For someone for me to maintain my body weight and my strength and my energy, I need about 1,600 calories a day. So that 900 calories for one meal, and generally I would use a meal service for dinner time.
Yeah.
I don't need that amount of energy at nighttime before I go to bed. That those calories or that energy would be better spent on a breakfast meal or a lunch meal. So
Wow.
I'm not saying they're bad,
But just to read the fine print.
yeah, just to read the fine print and just be aware of what you're choosing. And honestly, like, it could be something that you use for a week every now and then. Like, life gets full and it can be so helpful. Another tip, though, if you were to do them, is actually some of the portions are, if you weren't using the healthier choices, more of the family options, is halving your meal size, possibly.
Oh, that's good because that's also like meal prep at the same time, right?
Yeah, well, then you've then got another meal for the next morning. And honestly, they can be quite sustaining that half of a size. So it also depends on your goals and what you're trying to do at the time.
Meal prep is so hard though. And before I get your answer, I actually asked a bunch of people on Instagram that reckon they've got meal prepping nailed, how they meal prep. And these were their suggestions.
The VJ Cooks app is amazing. It gives you ideas and then helps you meal plan and then creates a shopping list. So it's a one-stop shop.
Honestly, don't throw anything away. Every part of the food you buy can be made into something else, like turn chicken bones and vegetable ends into stock. Or if you've got like old soup sitting in the fridge, like just make it into a quick pasta sauce instead.
I use the Two Raw Sisters app. I predominantly try not to eat too much gluten and dairy, and their recipes are also predominantly gluten and dairy free. They also talk about how easy it is to make substitutions. So if you don't have, for example, kiwi fruit, but you've got feijoas, they just say just use the whatever you've got, which I find helps with that meal prep and budgeting. So my breakfasts I do, and I prep for a week on a Sunday or a Monday. So very user-friendly.
Better Me, hopefully, sponsored by Specsavers. Ryan O'Connor from Specsavers is back. And questions come in from some parents that want to know about, are there any signs to look out for that your child might need an eye test or glasses, Ryan?
Absolutely. The obvious ones are standing too close to the television or not seeing what you can see in the distance. But then lots of eye conditions, especially in young children, are to do with things up close. So they're squinting, they're closing one eye, they're leaning on their hands, they're getting really tired when they try to read a book. Those are the sorts of things that tend to affect young kids. The good thing to do is get them outside, get them playing in the sunshine, and that helps to keep their eyes healthy and keep them seeing far away.
Are you noticing now as an optometrist that screen time is increasing glasses in younger age groups? Because it seems like a lot of kids wear glasses now.
Glasses are cool, that's why.
That's so cute. Honestly, they're so cute when you see like little babies wearing those like cute little like goggles. It's so adorable. But is it more common because screens are more common?
I think screens are highlighting when young kids are having trouble looking up close. They're doing more near work. They're doing more reading in school. They're, as you said, they're on a screen more often, and it's tiring their eyes out more obviously, whereas lots of kids would go through being long-sighted and just, run around, muck around outside. So I don't think it's causing more glasses, but it's highlighting those people who need glasses easily. On the flip side, as kids age through primary school and into high school, that excessive knee work may be having a role in causing more short-sighted. So that's where it comes to making sure we're outside 2 hours a day and applying the 20-20-20 rule every 20 minutes, having a break and looking far away.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Ryan O'Connor from Specsavers. You're a blimmin' legend. Appreciate your time. So as a nutritionist and somebody that I have seen meal prep, how do you do it? What is the life hack? And why is it so hard? Especially when you've got kids running around. I can't even have a shower without every member of my family coming in to say hi.
I feel that.
Yeah, like
Very
literally
much
I had a
so.
shower this morning and my youngest came in, then the other kid came in, then my husband came in, and then the dog came in, and I was like, can I ever have a shower without everyone coming in? So like, how am I supposed to prep a week's worth of lunches or whatever if I can't even have a shower without an audience?
I think it's about picking time that you have available to you and prioritizing bigger food groups that are going to really suit everybody across the week. So, for example, in our household, it might be chopping a bunch of carrots and then putting them in a sealed container, putting them in the fridge, or slow cooking some meat that can then be pulled apart and put in a container in the fridge. A slow cooker, you basically would put the meat in, leave it to do its thing. Again, pulling apart the meat afterwards, that's another 10 minutes, and then putting it. So that's actually only 20 minutes of your time.
So it's not actually the laying out the beautiful containers and putting in perfect bits of chicken and perfect bits of broccoli and perfect bits of whatever.
No.
It can just be having things that are easy to grab, that are healthy in the
And that's
fridge.
so what I recommend. Rather than putting together meals, I find it easier just to have bits in the fridge. When it comes to things like breakfasts, something like an overnight oats, so easy to do. You put your oats in, you put your water or milk of choice and your seeds and put that in the fridge. You can do several of those at once and then add all your toppings first thing in the morning when you're on the go out the door.
Wow, okay.
And nothing wrong with having that for lunch either. You don't always have to have breakfast foods
At breakfast.
Wow.
Wow, okay. This makes me feel so much better because I was just like, I can't even keep track of a Tupperware container, let alone to every Sunday have them lined up beautifully on my
pretty
bench.
little jars.
Yeah.
They don't have. It
I
doesn't have
can't.
to. You look at my fridge and it doesn't look pretty.
Next question, is all sugar bad? Do I have to cut bread and treats? Is an ice cream a day okay? That one might have been for me. That one might have been for me because my favourite part of the day is once my kids are finally in bed, I get into bed, I basically swaddle myself, watch some terrible reality TV show, eat an ice cream, and my husband brings me a chamomile tea. And it's the highlight of my day.
That's gorgeous.
But is that the first thing that has to go from my life?
It's not the first thing that has to
Oh,
go.
damn it.
At all. We can make it work for you. So
Okay.
back to your first question though, is all sugar bad? No, all sugar isn't inherently bad. There's added sugar and sugars that are naturally found in fruits, vegetables, yogurts. They are wonderful for you. And those foods obviously provide a lot more nutrients and antioxidants. And so when you hear, and you do on social media, there'll be often it's from a personal trainer that's told a client to cut no more bananas.
Yeah.
Please don't cut bananas.
I thought bananas were a perfect food.
Bananas are wonderful. They're a wonderful form of potassium. If you wake up early in the morning and you go to exercise and you don't have time for breakfast, have half a banana because you need that energy. Especially if you're going to do a HIIT class or a heavy lifting class, you need that energy to be able to go and do that exercise. So don't cut the fruit from your life. The sugar we need to be aware of. So I'm not saying don't cut your ice cream out of your life.
Phew.
It's just being mindful when you eat it.
So get the little magnums and not the big giant ones.
That would be a much better. And if you are eating a balanced diet, I don't like the word diet because it makes it sound really restrictive, balanced food choices across the day, then by all means you can have your ice cream. And when you eat it, mindfully eat it. I know you've just said you're wrapped up in your bed and you're watching your reality TV, but really this will feel weird. Yeah. Do.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Savor that.
I will give it my best.
Please do.
I'll give it my best. I feel like I do give it my best.
Good girl.
I will. Okay, well that makes me feel so much better.
And so you don't have to cut your bread and you don't have to cut your treats, but it's just making mindful choices of when we eat them. And not going all week and I'm eating chicken and broccoli all week and then on the weekend throwing shit out the window. I know we do that.
What? I don't. I definitely do that. That is, I feel like you just nailed me where I'll be like, okay, I'm going to be really good all week and Friday is my purge. I'm going to have everything.
Have your cheeseburger on a Tuesday afternoon before you go on air and see how you feel.
Oh, okay.
Just try it.
I will try that. You don't have to encourage me to have a cheeseburger. All right, this is good. Okay. What about plant milks? We got so many questions about plant milks.
Yeah.
I am a big coconut milk person. If I'm honest, I probably have like 2, sometimes 3 matcha lattes in the morning with coconut milk. Well, across the day with coconut milk. And there's a lot of things like soy milk is bad for hormones and oat milk is bad for something else and coconut milk's high cholesterol and all of that sort of stuff. So what is the truth about plant milk? Is it as bad as the internet says?
No. I mean, it's the same with dairy. You know, like there's always going to be, there is research behind all of these milks where there's different things that may not be great. Mm-hmm. Unless you're sitting there and you're drinking 2 litres of it a day.
Not quite. Not quite.
I mean, I would recommend cut back a little bit there if that's what you're having. But if you're having, for me, I have coconut milk in a hot chocolate sometimes. I'll have almond milk in my smoothie. So this is all in one day. I might have oat milk on my oats. That's 3 different varieties there. And then I still also do have small amounts of dairy because that's what I can tolerate. It's okay. Just be aware of on the packaging, when you look at the ingredients list, of the additives there. So often it should be, and that's the same with any food, I guess. When you're looking at the ingredients, the less ingredients, the better for you.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the best tips for bloating?
And you know what? This is something that I'm actually really bloated today. And can I just say, I let myself enjoy some grapes last night.
Yeah.
And I know so this is one tip. It's being aware of your trigger foods. So for me, I know I actually can't really digest grapes well or apples, unfortunately. It leads to bloating and, sorry for those around me, but gas. I'm okay right now, okay? So
okay,
I let it out.
We've got good mics in here. They're very directional.
But that was a choice I made, right? So be aware of your trigger foods. There are foods like there is dairy for some people. Lentils can lead to bloating. Cabbage, broccoli, some foods that are good for us. But again, everybody is different. Keeping hydrated is another tip for bloating. So you can it can help prevent water retention and can help your food be digested properly. Another tip is being able to move your body after you eat a meal. So sometimes you may eat a meal. Sometimes we might overindulge in a meal. And you know that feeling where you feel really full, and it can be bloated as well. If you are able to, just go for a walk around. It aids digestion. Movement really, really helps. Again, if you are able to eat slowly. So one thing most people don't do is we just inhale our food. We're
especially
standing.
if you've got kids, you're just like before they eat your food.
Yeah. Yes. Well, one thing we can really work on, especially with our children around, is even putting our knife and fork down maybe halfway through, putting a tea towel over it if you need to protect it. Whatever you need to do to protect your food, but having a halftime break.
Yes.
And letting the food digest. And often you may find actually you are satisfied, you are full, you don't need to go back for more of that food. By all means, if you are still hungry, go back and eat it. But give yourself a minute halftime break. Again, if you have the luxury of eating a dinner meal, perhaps it's just you and your partner, putting your fork and knife down between every few bites. I know for me, after having 2 little boys, we had a 2-year-old and a newborn baby at the same time. I have really had to undo the habit of just wolfing my food down.
Yeah.
Because you just eat it because you've got that window of opportunity to eat.
And it's you either eat or you don't eat.
Yeah. So I've really had to slowly undo that, actually look up from my plate.
Yes.
And that can be that's probably one of the biggest things I've had to work through with my clients is we just eat so fast. We eat on the go. We're always in a hurry. mindful eating.
Yes, that's actually a great point because some mornings I find myself, I'm like, okay, well, if you want to eat breakfast this morning, you're going to have to do it, but you're going to have to do it at the same time as everything else. So I'll make eggs on toast, but I will be like shoving a corner of it in my mouth while I'm getting kids dressed and making their breakfasts and making lunch boxes and things like that.
Yeah.
Instead of actually sitting down. I do try to sit down where I can, but God, it's just so tough sometimes.
I get it. And the mornings are probably, I think, most mothers or stay-at-home parents would find the most challenging to eat a mindful meal. So whether it's starting with a dinner meal, perhaps, or a lunch. I'm just thinking dinner with kids can be really challenging too.
Yeah.
But like lunch, when you are alone or less likely to be influenced by other people and really working on that like one meal to just change your habits slowly.
Something that's super common with women in New Zealand is PCOS, so polycystic ovaries and just cysts and all that sort of stuff. Like we have such a hard time, it feels like, with our reproductive, like endometriosis and things like that. Are there meals or foods that we should indulge in more or avoid having this? Because like I've got friends that live with PCOS and it's just like the pain and stuff that they go through all the time, and it's like there's no escaping it. Is there something that they can do to help that?
It can be such a crippling part of like life for some people.
Yeah.
I recently worked with a client who we worked together for several months to really, really support her body and her system. Initially, she came to me wanting weight loss, and by the end of it, she was just so in love with her body and feeling good and in less pain because of the changes we'd made. So one of the things for her, it was ensuring she was eating every 3 to 4 hours, which for some might be like, oh my God, that sounds like all the time. It's really not. Like if you're having your breakfast, maybe a little snack, lunch, a little snack and dinner, just to really support your digestive system, support your hormones. So your hormones need to know that there's love here, that your body is okay. You're in a state of being supported and you're fine. And ensuring that with those meals, there was always protein and a carbohydrate together. It supports your blood glucose levels, and so to ensure she wasn't dropping or spiking at any point, and completely satisfied from meal to meal. There were no like foods we cut out completely, other than for her, dairy just didn't work with her body. So again, it's very individual. But like I would recommend eating smaller meals and often. And again, that whole like eat the rainbow, like, you know, fill your plate with various fruits and vegetables. Ensure you've got protein. And protein isn't just meat. It is tofu. It is lentils. It is edamame beans. It's add a protein powder. So if you were having like a smoothie or something and you didn't have any dairy-based products in there, you can add a plant-based protein. Ensuring that you've got enough grains that are on your plate to help you feel full and satisfied and to really just support your body with a whole lot of love.
When it comes to nutrition, there's so many things that people tell you to do and then tell you what not to do, and then it's just overwhelming. And again, the constant trend of people preying on the vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why we've got so many questions for you. I would love to do a quick fire with you if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Okay, here we go. Quick fire questions. These are your questions. And if we didn't get to your questions in this episode, I am going to beg Joelle to come back because she has been absolutely brilliant. Okay, here we go. Keto, yay or nay?
Nay, long term.
What's the difference between a carb and a calorie?
Oh, a calorie is a measurement of energy. A carbohydrate is a macronutrient. So you've got your three: carbohydrate, protein, and fats, which is what we need on our plate for a balanced diet. So, and calories measure the energy that food gives you.
Brilliant. Are sugar-free drinks any better than full sugar drinks?
Slightly.
Is intermittent fasting good for you long term?
I would say no, because it's not sustainable long term.
Good off-the-shelf snack that you don't have to cook?
Nuts, fruit and vegetables, rice cakes with an almond butter or a nut butter, beef jerky, cheese strings.
Oh.
Just easy, like on
Grabbing.
the go. Yeah.
Okay, follow-up question. For anyone else that's a big fan of skinny dip nuts, you know those like delicious almonds that are like covered in chocolate and sometimes like raspberry powder as well, and they're just like honestly orgasm worthy. Are they good? Is that a good nut that I could be eating?
Preferably without the chocolate around the outside. But, you know, like a couple.
It's better than a chocolate bar though, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm going to take this. I feel like that's a half. It's a half win for us skinny dip nut loving women. Okay. What are the best foods for tired people?
Bananas, oatmeal, Greek yogurt, berries, nuts. Does that satisfy you? Like, no, you didn't mention lollies and ice cream.
I'm sitting here. I'm waiting here to be like, she hasn't said Snickers bar yet.
The reason I haven't said that is it will give you the energy, but you are likely to crash on the other side of it. So the other foods are, you won't get that massive spike of energy. You will have an energy release, but it will be sustaining.
Okay, well, I guess that we could take some wins with the losses, okay? All right, last question is, and this may not be a quick fire, but it's one that came through probably the most. Why, myself included, after every meal do I want something sweet?
Okay.
Because at the moment, I'm blaming my parents for letting me having ice cream after dinner as a child.
Well, that is one reason. That is like one
Told you, Mum.
Really strong reason. So habit, right? That's something, it's a routine, it's something you've grown up with, or it's something you've set for yourself. So you eat dinner and you go, okay, we always have chocolate every night. That's what I'm going to have. So that's one reason. Another reason is you see it could be potentially like a reward for you surviving the day. So you know, sit down and you have, and I know especially when our children were like younger, like Mike and I would literally order, this is actually pre my study, I would order a McFlurry, you know, like that was my like, I've survived, I've done it. So that would be like a habit, not every day, but that would be like, and in the evening as well. Another reason is what is on your plate isn't well balanced, and that you are missing a macronutrient, or you're missing you're not actually fulfilled in what you're eating. You're full. So if you're really restricting yourself and you're literally eating like lettuce and tuna, and that's it as a salad for dinner, of course your blood sugar levels are needing something more, so you're craving that.
And then you end up like gorging on it. You
indulge, you binge eat.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if you have been like, again, across the day, you could even look at your plate. Like if you skip breakfast, you have a salad for lunch, you eat a tiny bit of salmon and broccoli for dinner because you're being good, then of course you're going to crave that sweet treat. Or you are, again, super restrictive. Like, so you could look at adding that sweet thing in at another point in the day when your body could use that energy, and then have a smaller portion in the evening. I mean, ideally, if you can have something that is like, I know if I say dark chocolate, everyone's gonna be like,
some dark chocolate's good though.
I know, like some is good. Find one that you
that you like. Some of them are gross.
Or like for me, I really love like creamy, like your ice cream, right? Like if you can stomach dairy and a Greek yogurt, and you have like a nice like vanilla protein powder, mix it together with berries. I know that, and blitz it if you want to, and put lots of berries so it's quite thick. So it's like a creamy protein treat.
Oh, okay.
Just try it for a little bit. It's not the same. I'm not tricking you. Like, it's not the same.
I love it because, like, and this is why I really wanted to get you on, because I've been to nutritionists before that are like, all right, no sugar, no dairy, no gluten, no nothing. Joelle, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Like,
me.
Honestly am overwhelmed with how many questions we got. We're definitely going to have to get you back because there's a lot more to get through. But thank you so much for your time. And if you want to know more about Joelle, look in the show notes. Like I was saying earlier, you can book appointments, you can go and see what she's all about, and you will not regret it, I promise. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I loved it.
I'm doing a clap on mic that you can't see. It looks more like a veg. Hang on. There we go. There we go. That's better. Do you know what I realised while listening to all of Joelle's answers, but also the questions that you wrote? It made it so much more palatable, and it was way more simple than I thought it would be. We recorded that interview with Joelle 2 weeks ago, and I wanted to come back and say at the end of this podcast whether I had tried any of the things that she said. So first of all, I went home that night and I messaged Jojo on Instagram and I was like, babe, I'm ready. Let me book an appointment. And I became one of her clients after talking to Joelle in this episode and the simple way that she laid out meal prep. I meal prepped last night, guys. Not only meal prepped vegetables, I cooked some goddamn chicken. I have never done that before. I was so proud of myself. I bought like a big thing of kale and a big thing of spinach, and I went through and I cut it all up and I put them in separate containers, and then I cooked 3 chicken breasts and I sliced them up for my husband and I, put them in the fridge. And this morning I got up and I was about to make an excuse of not taking my lunch to work, and then I remembered it's already done. The other thing that I feel like we learned in this episode was that we can be conscious about what we're eating, but we also don't need to beat ourselves up every time we eat something that may be considered bad. Like, one of my favorite moments was when Joelle said that I was allowed to have Molenberg bread. So thank you so much for joining us this week. I really do appreciate it. And I know this episode was a little bit different to how the other episodes have gone, but I just thought it was really important that this episode reflect what you wanted to know. Because this podcast, it's more for you than it is for me. Like, we're in this together, and I just was overwhelmed by how many questions that we got that I thought it would be a mess if I didn't ask the one that you wanted the answers to. So I hope that you got as much out of it as I did. On the next episode, I'm really, really excited about it. We're going to be talking about medication for mental health, because a huge portion of the population takes some form of medication, myself included. I take sertraline every day, and I have Ritalin for days that my ADHD feels like I can't kind of cope with it. But many consider it to be a scary thing. They consider it to be a failure. They're reluctant to take it because of the stigma. Someone who knows a lot about this is mental health advocate Jazz Thornton.
And it's the same thing of like going to the doctor and needing meds for your physical health. Like, you're not just going to walk around on a broken leg. That's so dumb. Just being able to have that kind of destigmatized within the people around me, even though that's literally my life's work. Which I also think just shows like recovery is a freaking journey. Like, it's not linear.
And we do get pretty deep, but I think it's a really positive conversation. And if you or someone you know is at that crossroad at the moment where you're trying to decide whether or not to just take the damn pills, then please listen to next week's episode, because I feel like at the end of it, you're going to feel so much stronger. I'll catch you next time. Thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. We'll catch you next week. Love ya.